shot that at this stage of your game, you're not supposed to do that. And it comes down to what you're doing when you miss that shot. If you're in a match, whether it's a tournament or a league or you're out gambling, and that's what you wind up with, there's really nothing you can do about it at this point. Make a mental note of the shot you missed and vow to work on that shot and learn what you did wrong when you missed it, and fix it. If you're just out practicing, then you can do it right there. But when you start beating yourself up for it and calling yourself all kinds of nasty names, you're going to lose a match. It's going to feed off itself, and you're going to believe what you're telling yourself, and you're just going to go to hell. And that's how pool players go to hell. And I've seen people literally lose their freaking minds. Good players do something terribly, amateur, and just completely crack, man. And this isn't from missing that shot. This is from years and years and years of things building up and continually downgrading yourself and abusing yourself. And it's an ugly sight, man. I've seen good friends literally lose their freaking minds, man. Don't let that be you. I'm off to see the wizard. I'm late. It's not oversleeping. It's waiting for the last second to get it together. There's an ingredient in pool that some players, not everybody, need in order to continually progress. And in the last video, in the comments section, I was having a conversation with Ronnie Rose. We had a guy named Bobby Pickle, and that got me thinking. We gotta stop and get gas. Pool is just this inherently dead serious thing, and it's for serious people, and this is especially true when you're playing for your next meal, so it takes all this concentration and all this focus, and some of the best players in the world just absolutely look like they're miserable. They look like they're being tortured while they're playing pool. And then there's some guys who look like it's a day in the park and they're just out having fun, but they're rare. Guys like Alex Pagulayan just looks like, hey, I don't care. Maybe it's time to lighten the F word up. I think there's a whole lot of people who lost touch or lost hope or faith or whatever you want to call it in how contentment is our choice. It's a choice. You can choose to be a miserable, human being focused on negative things, or you can choose to enjoy your life. And if you're really concerned about horrible things, then you can enjoy your life while you're trying to fix those horrible things, but people lost touch with the fact that what you're thinking and where you stand is up to you. But we're leaving it up to other people. And so we're just a bunch of victims of, you wake up, you turn on the news and you hear something horrible, and it's horrible. But people are letting whatever horror that is to affect every single thing they do and how their day goes and what they're thinking throughout the day. And when you're that focused on negative things, everything becomes negative. It's like an avalanche where it's too late to catch yourself and say, hey, I can fix this. I don't have to let this kill me. So when it comes to actually pool, you have to analyze your own game and figure out if you play worse when you're angry and you're negative and you feel victimized. And it becomes this like fragile landslide of negativity. So you take that out in the pool game and you miss a ball, and you begin focusing on missing that ball and how bad you suck and how you've wasted your life and how it just becomes this snowball effect of horror and negativity. And you cannot possibly play great pool while you're not in control of what you're thinking. can you turn that off? And that's what it comes down to. Can you stop being a victim of what other people are saying and doing, and take control of that and say, no, this ain't gonna kill me. I'm deciding to be content with where I am and where I'm at, and call it selfish, call it whatever you want, but you gotta regain control of what's running around in your head. You have to be really, really careful about what you're saying to yourself. And if you wouldn't say it to your best friend, don't say it to yourself. People, especially pool players, are really, really, really vicious on themselves, and they don't even know it. And so I'm trying to get you to step back a little bit and think about what you're saying to yourself. In most cases, in a lot of cases, it's really, really abusive. But there's a difference between being hard on yourself, or not even being hard on yourself, having higher expectations of yourself, and just flat out abusing yourself. There's a difference in there. And I mean, your subconscious is believing what you're sticking in there. What Bobby Pickle once said to me, which is, if we're not having fun, why the hell are we doing this? Because it ain't for the money. This great valid point. What happens is, what started out helping you eventually kills you. It's like drugs. It's, when you first started doing them, it was great, but now it's killing you. Instead of progressing, you're going backwards, or you're just staying exactly where you're at, and you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to progress your own movement. So 2 months of boot camp was great, and it prepared you for war, and it's great. It's over now. We go on. And, spend your whole damn life in boot camp. It's gonna kill you. I never saw pool as something that was fun. It was never an activity. It went way further than that. When someone had a conversation about me in some bar or anywhere, and the other person saying, "Oh, that's John. What does he do?" I didn't want the other person answering and saying, "Well, he fixes cars," or "He's an electrician," or he rebuilds homes. None of that was good enough for me. I wanted them to say defiantly, "He's a pool player." It was more about becoming something than something I did for fun, and with always the hope of generating some kind of revenue stream. It was what I wanted it to be, my label. It wasn't what I do, it's what I am. And I know some people don't understand that, but if I ask you, what do you do? And you tell me, and that's how I'm going to know you, So, again, it was about becoming something that it can get a little wonky here, but people are what they do, and this is what I wanted to do. So with a lifetime of that, how do you just chill out, have fun? It's not really about fun, it's about contentment. It's about lighting up on yourself instead of making things very, very difficult on yourself. I think Earl Strickland is a good example of someone, and Earl, deflects it onto other things and other people. But if you really got to know Earl, you would see he's way too hard on himself. And that's what that's all about. He's just kind of projecting it and letting it out of him before it eats him to death and kills him. A little selfish, but I understand. It's not worth it. It's just not, and usually that's just temporary insanity, and they come back the next day or a couple of days later, and they're back to their normal selves. But if this pattern keeps repeating itself, it's going to be permanent, and you're going to wind up sleeping under some bridge and talking to yourself. And it's just not worth it, man. Just lighten up.
Well, whatever you want to do, I'll go get my stuff. Tell me you're coming.
The big issue with this topic is there's no one size fits all. You know, there's no sweeping generic answer. So now we're dealing with your brain. And different things work for different people depending on, it's just a whole, like, thousands of different things. And that's another reason why it's never covered in videos like this. Plus, a lot of people concern themselves with sounding a bit wonky. I personally, I don't care. I'll sound wonky all day long. I think there's certain people that kind of dig that. So, yeah, they've got nothing to hide. I really don't care. I know who I am. So, you really, you know, you can't name someone who's a great athlete or actor or whatever who's not a little bit wonky. You know, it's just like time to accept the wonkiness. Yeah, and the subject's been coming up a lot lately, especially in the topic of good players who miss an easy shot and just go to hell and just lose the whole match because, you know, they're just going off the deep end. And there's some guys who don't mind hitting on topics like this. I think that Max Everly did a lot of this. He, you know, he'll tell you he meditates, and some guys use hypnosis, and which came up in the comments of my last, I think it was my last video. So players know where I'm coming from when I'm dealing with this, and you know, once you get your physical game down, which is like boot camp, now it's time to go on to being who you are, and that goes back to defining who and what you are, and so you're a pool player, but are you? What's stopping you now that your physical game is great? What is stopping you from being the greatest? And I can tell you, if it's true and you're honest with yourself and your stroke is straight and all your basics are solid and you know what to do, it's going to be in your mental game, and that's why this video has to be made. So because, you know, one thing is not going to work for everyone, the key to this would be in knowing yourself and the willingness to be honest with yourself and really start analyzing why you think certain things when there's certain things happen, and why you do certain things when things happen. All of this stuff in our head. I can make this video, you know, 48 hours long and just keep on going on and on and on with examples of, you know, this, try to cut it to the core. This video is probably going to be long, but you know, I don't have to get super detailed for you guys to understand what's being said here. You ever see Efrain Reyes dog a shot and then reach back and pluck the back of his shirt? That was his way of getting the monkey off his back. I'm cutting myself shaving. See, if I cared, I'd borrow some of Shirley's makeup and cover this up, you know? But I don't. I really don't. I think I did a lot. I think I did too much throughout most of my life. But I kind of outgrew it, you know? But I literally do not care anymore what other people think of me. And it's kind of like my way of weeding out, you know, the bangers, the pretenders. I know there's people watching this video who know exactly where I'm coming from, and they're constantly pushing themselves further and further, and they just can't find what they're looking for. You ever get a song stuck in your head And of course you have Everybody Has, and it can be quite annoying if it's a song that you're not real hip to. And I had a list of songs, and they're not necessarily my favorite songs. They just convey a certain thing, like the freedom and escape and big city life and the lights and the heartbeat and the soul of the city, and these things inspire me to relax and just kind of go. It's therapeutic stuff for me. And in the video, and all 4 runouts which were taken last night, Tuesday late afternoon, nighttime. And I've got this song by Elton John, Tiny Dancer, just looping over and over in my head. It's just stuck there all night long. And I did this on purpose just to make this video and to show you guys. So it was every one of these songs on this custom list of mine. You can make your own list if you want to try this. It just relaxes my brain to where, and it can get dangerous here because I can cross the line into really not caring, about what's going on, even on the pool table. It's definitely a form of meditation that goes further and allows you to perform while you're meditating. And I know it sounds hokey and weird, but it's the truth, and it works for me. And it's not to say it works for you, but it is addressing the mental stuff that we all have in our heads. For me, and yeah, it can go too far and relax me too much and put me. And that's where I just have to catch myself and regroup and say, wait a minute, John, it does matter. And that's what's so funny when you see me in that first track laughing. Because I know, again, I'm making this video for you, but you're not going to know what it's all about until we get to this point right here. It is what it is, and I don't think there's anyone making pool videos on the internet other than Max Everly who actually can address this issue, because most of these guys Niels could do it. I don't know if he will. I don't know. Danny Basovich was making videos at one point, but his channel did not succeed, shamefully, because Danny was one of the best road hustlers there ever was in this game. His health got bad, or too bad for him to continue. But sadly, that YouTube channel went under when Danny had a lot to say in a few videos he did produce, and he could have helped any pool player with their game. And he's a nice guy too. I miss Danny. And I'm getting sidetracked. I know that you're eventually going to find out what's so funny. And I give you a list of songs in the intro, so if you're wondering what that's about, they're just some of the songs I use to do this, and I purposely get it looping in my head to take me away from beating myself up, from the stress, from just, it allows me to just enjoy the game. And a jukebox playing country music does not interfere with this. I'll still hear that song all night long. Sometimes I wake up in the morning still singing. So there's other videos I have to make, another safety video I'm working on, and a product review for the extension I'm working on a lot of stuff. But when this topic came up, and I actually set out to the pool room to make this video on this topic, I had to get it done. So I skipped through all the archives in my video and just put the last 4 or 5 runouts from last night. The point of the matter, what I'm trying to say is you have to work on this part of your game. If you neglect it, you're not going to get there. They're not secrets. They're just things that certain pool players do to address all this stuff in their head, right? So, and they think these things are unique or, personal and individual and just something they deal with a lot. And they're working hard as their physical game. But maybe they're not as unique as they tend to think, and maybe the only reason we think they're unique is because we never talk about these things. And maybe that is the missing ingredient.
Cool.
Oh my goodness.
Looks like it's 12.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, come on, I thought you was gonna back off on that. You hit that harder than you ever hit it.
Yeah.
I was always really hard on myself, but I never lost it to the point that I was destructive with it or got into it with anybody. It was just me mad at myself.